Yeah, so Nisargadatta Maharaj was taught that you have to put your attention in the I am. So you have to move your attention into that sense of beingness, that sense that you are. So it's the thinking mind goes off into all these extrapolated lines of who you are and what you need and thoughts. And his practice, his teacher told him he has to just keep putting the attention in the I am. And I think then after 3 years he had a shift and an awakening. And I used to do that as well, automatically. That was what I followed because it was being told to me inadvertently through Roger and through Ramesh. And I was doing it prior to that, but I was calling it this moment. You've got to put it into this, your attention into this moment. That was what the Buddhists taught me. And what it's doing is it's a practice for the person. But it's an illusion that there's actually somebody there that has free will and does things. So it's an appearance that that person does things. So you might think that you're putting your attention in the I am, but then the question would be, who is the one that's putting the attention in the I am? There is a functioning in the person that is doing this. And the great thing about doing it is it really calms down the person. It breaks useless thinking, and it breaks the seeking energy to an extent. And there is also some sort of freedom the person can feel when it puts itself in the I am, if it's not too weighed down with suffering. I am. I am. It's so exciting. But so that's the practice they recommend, but it also comes with the big warning sign that the idea that you're doing it is illusory. That which is doing it is being witnessed. It's being watched. So it's a good practice to do for the person, but whether it's done or not is not down to that individual person, because that individual person is a happening. There's something which is happening in space. The movement of the person is happening, the speaking is happening, the listening is happening, the consciousness is happening, the momentum is happening. But what we have as humans is this story that says, I am doing it. But who is this I? Who are you? Who is this I? So what's happening for most people is they're constantly caught up into this story of who they are. So there is a story in the head about how this person did something to you, or how that person did something to you, how this should have happened or not happened, or you want this or you don't want that. And then there's an emotional response that's happening in the body. And that's how most people live their whole life, is just focused on themselves. This character just focusing on itself and trying to get things and avoid things. But there's nothing to get and to avoid. That the person becomes obsessed that it will find a freedom in getting and avoiding. And that will give you increased pain or pleasure. If you have bad things happening to you, then it might be painful, or good things, it might give you increased pleasure. But it's not lasting. It doesn't last, this pain or pleasure. And so the person is always looking for something else that will just make it feel at home. But that home is the I am, that home is presence. But the person is always lost in a story of itself, which becomes an energy in the body, trying to get. And you can't undo that energy because you don't really exist. There seems to be an undoing of it, and there seems to be a practice that manifests for the person. But in the end, that's life, that's God. God has been orchestrating everything. You are a puppet, feeling like you have free will. So you move your arm and it feels like you move it, but it's actually happening. So say this complete surrender into this presence and allowing God to move every part of your body, which is love. The closer you come back to who you are, which is this moment, the more you're in contact with your essence, which is love, that God is expressing as a form of love now. Like my words are love, the computer is love, the hum of the computer, the sound of the radiators, the colors, the light, everything is an act of love when it's known to be coming from this moment, coming from this I am, from the heart of being. But when everything is coming from a story, then you're emotionally bound to that story. You're tied up in knots by that story. And the predominant factor to the story is I am separate from everything else, which isn't true. There's nobody that is separate from everybody else. There is nobody.